Today's episode is brought to you by Archon Mounts. For those of you that are looking for reliable mounting solutions for whether you're a content creator, maybe you are a baker, maybe you're an Instagram sensation, maybe you do TikTok videos, maybe you like doing public speaking and you do recordings. Well, go to archon.com for sturdy, robust, reliable mounting solutions for everything that you got from cell phones, whether it's an iPhone Pro 16. Is that 16 now? Yeah, iPhone Pro 6 or iPhone 16 Pro Max phones, or maybe you got a Samsung Galaxy, whatever phone or devices that you've got, they've got mounting solutions for you. There's some great content creators out there. Like if you do dance videos, baking, maybe you do tutorials, go to archon.com. Make sure you get your hands on some really cool equipment. Even if you're a professional photographer and you have DSLR cameras, maybe you're an action photographer and you like doing cinematic stuff, they've got that too. So go to archon.com. There's a promo code you want to make sure you put in at the checkout, and that's Hawaii. Yes, put in Hawaii and you get 20% off your entire order. That's my promo code to help push you guys along. And of course, that supports my family as well. So thank you. Thank you in advance for your support. Archon.com, that's keeping your devices within reach. Our new merch is up as well. So if you go to therealgilo.com, that's our website. Link is in the bio. We have our new shirts, and it's called Stay Humble and Shaka. And it's one of our latest designs that we've got. For those of you that don't know what the Shaka, it's what it looks like here with my fingers down and two thumbs, my thumb and my pinky. Some of the colors we got is what we would call Holy Land Olive. We've got Heather Gray. We've got Holy Land White. There's another color. It's a kind of an orangey color. I'm just going to say it's a tangerine, mild tangerine. But if you go to therealgilo.com and you go to our merchandise button, it'll take you to our storefront. And we just want to thank you for your support, for all of you that have been supportive over the years, buying stuff from us, and everything you buy, purchase. Obviously, it blesses me, it blesses my family, and helps us build that generational wealth with everything we do, products and services. So that is it. Family, you're watching episode 60 of Glow Sessions. If you don't know what that is, it's just a show. It's a podcast, whatever you want to call it. We are live on all platforms. We're going to be live on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about, obviously, Weekend Roundup, what we did. We're going to talk about my daughter, Zoe, and her business. She's only 15, and she's already an entrepreneur. We're going to talk a little bit about politics. Obviously, we're going to talk about church and movers and shakers in social media. And then we're going to do, I'm going to check my podcast call-ins. I don't think we have any new ones for this week, but I'll still check it. And then we're going to talk about dreams and goals, and we're going to close it out with that. So I'm glad that you're here, whether you're in live or in the replay. I see you guys on Twitch and YouTube. My live, thank you for being here. Appreciate you guys. We'll be back in 44 seconds. Glow Sessions number 60, Weekend Roundup.
It's a brand new day. Hey. Wake up every morning and say it's a brand new day. Hey. Take a good day, make it great, okay? Cause if you got some lemons, make some lemonade. Yeah, chase those clouds away. It's a brand new day. Hey. It's a brand new day. It's a brand new day. Okay.
For those of you that saw my intro video, that was Scuba Steve. That was Scuba Steve. He was actually in an astronaut suit, and I think AI is taking over the world. At least that's what they want you to think, right? And so I did that image on. It's an AI service from Elon Musk, and it's called Grok. And so it's Grok version 2 or Grok Mini 2. And I said, what did I say? I said, generate me an image of an astronaut in Hawaii on a beach. And so that's the image that he gave. I also created another one, which I'll share that on my socials later on this evening. And it's funny because we're all, let me rephrase it, not all, but there's a lot of people that are looking to the stars, right? They're looking to planet hop. I think that's the term. And even Elon Musk was talking about I think he says interplanetary species or interplanetary exploration. And there's a statement he said I forget who he was talking to, and the question was, "Are you afraid that we're going to use up all of our resources in relation to electric vehicles?" Because he's the owner of Tesla, and so the question was, "Are you afraid that we're going to use all of the resources for batteries?" And he says, "No, we have." He said, "We have more than enough resources for batteries." That's what he said, and whoever the interviewer was didn't quite believe him, but he held his ground and he says, "No, we're fine. We're very very good on resources." And so it to me it's ironic that he talks about that, and yet we're focused on leaving the planet. So that's why I had that AI generated image of an astronaut on a beach in Hawaii. So it's like, why go when you're here? So but that what's up, Vladimir? Streams and hey, Vladimir is I meant to acknowledge that a little bit later. I'm gonna acknowledge it now. For those of you that don't know Vladimir, on all of my platforms, so we're live on YouTube, X, Twitch, Kick, and Rumble, and of course Spotify, Apple Podcasts a little bit later. But Vladimir is, I'm gonna call him a robotic genius. I'll just say that. And he's working out some things live right now. I think he's still live. We'll check him out in just a second. And so he's working out some kinks in his video setup on his studio that he just generated. You can bring it here, Zoe. My daughter's bringing me my hot tea. So is it super hot? Will it burn my tongue to kingdom come? If I don't blow, okay. Thank you, Zoe. But yeah, so he is he's a former engineer, I think, at Coca-Cola and let me look it up. Coca-Cola and BMW. So and he teaches robotics, which is very interesting. So we're gonna highlight him a little bit later in our podcast, in our video episode, whatever you want to call it. Whenever I do these solo podcasts, it's always a challenge for me because I need the pushback. I need to have that engagement, but I enjoy talking. So it's not the talk is not an issue, and I made some notes. I always script everything from start to finish. And obviously I go back and forth. Oh, that's some hot tea. I better put this to the side. My daughter makes these fresh teas and she uses this old school Chinese kettle style. Um, but yeah, so Vladimir he's a robotics. I'm gonna call him a robotics engineer. Is that even a word? He's a teacher and a tech fanatic. So he's got a website called myrobotschool.com. So for anybody listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, go to myrobotschool.com. I didn't vet him yet, so if you find anything questionable, don't blame me. I'm just sharing it out. But yeah, going back to podcasting and doing solo podcasts, I love doing them. I love organic in person conversations. I love doing even remote conversations podcasts. And so for those of you that are listening to me or watching me for the first time, thank you for being here. I appreciate you taking the time to just like, even if it's just for a minute or even 2 minutes. I'll be very honest with you. On a lot of my live streams, um, my retention rate is not as high in the video live streams, and I think people have a lot of other things grabbing their visual attention. So a lot of times, my retention rate on live stream video is not as good. Although the numbers may look nice, but the retention rates are not typically as good as like audio. So yeah, straight unvetted. We'll put up his comments for those of you that are visually watching. So that's what Vladimir looks like. He says tea is awesome. He says ha ha ha, straight unvetted. But yeah, so we're gonna talk a little bit today about our weekend, obviously weekend roundup. We're gonna talk a little bit about my daughter's business. For those of you that don't know, my daughter that just bought my tea, she's a business owner. She's a genius. And by the way, since we're talking about tech, my daughter that just brought me my tea, she was coding at 10 years old. Okay. I'm going to just throw that out there. I'm going to brag about it. She was writing code at 10 years old. So some people are asking like, well, is she an engineer? No, she got tired of it. She doesn't like to do it anymore. She likes to bake. She likes to cook. She likes doing a lot of other things. She loves chickens. She does farm stuff. But she's a business owner. So we helped, obviously mom and dad helped, we financed a lot of the things that she needs and needed. Just little things like, well, tent, we got our tent, Or actually, my dad bought her a tent. That was my dad's investment. Tables, all supplies. So she bakes. We're about to create an Instagram for her so the local organic population here where we're at can access her and her baked goods. Now, she doesn't just do baked goods. She does a lot of things. Like she's very creative. So crochet, um, and she does a lot. I can't brag on her enough to even. But one of the things that we learned in business for her was um, being able to pivot. Right. So her business started off as Vitamin Z. That's my wife and my daughter and my wife. They came up with that name because very passionate about health and vitamins and whatever you name, lotions and creams. So they were going to develop some products, and so, but it migrated to things that she enjoys. You know, Vladimir says on Twitter on X, nice coding is good for crossover skill. It is. A lot of us old school generation, we kind of learned how to do a little bit of coding or even just writing things out in is it command prompt, C prompt, whatever it's called, just because we had to. Some of the old school websites, angelfire.com. If anybody knows angelfire.com, you know what I'm talking about. You had to learn how to write your own, basically do HTML, the old school, and figure those kind of things out. And then if you're even smarter, a little bit deeper, yeah, I won't go too deep into that rabbit hole. But yeah, getting back to my daughter's business, she's 15 years old, man. Like, just crazy. I'm not sure where God's going to take her in the next chapter of her life, but while at this age, she did really good, by the way, this past weekend. Uh, it was busy. And if anybody wants to get a little glimpse or a clip of what it looks like on a Saturday with my daughter in her business, I didn't show too much of her business per se, but I showed a little bit of the side action. I was riding a tractor, a little wooden, a little wooden tractor that was there. And I'll be posting more photos and videos later. But so that's my daughter. I wanted to brag about her. Oh, excuse me, a little bit gassy. But let me ask this question for anybody watching or anybody listening. And it's more of a greeting. I hope you guys are doing good. I hope you guys are having a blessed closing every weekend. I think the majority of the United States, you're already in Monday. So I just want to, I hope you guys had a great wrap up to your weekend, a closing to your week. If you're a traditional calendar person, obviously Sunday's the first day of the week. And we're going to close it out tonight with dreams and goals. But before we get there, I just want to make sure, how you guys doing? You guys doing okay? And we're going to talk a little bit about, I think, some things that wins, losses, victories, stumbling blocks. My wife and I, we've got a lot that we can share with you. I think in the upcoming weeks, upcoming months, as my wife and I work out the material and how to deliver that to you as a listener, as a viewer. So, but yeah, I hope you guys are doing good. Hope you guys are having a blessed um, rest of your week or weekend. And actually, I got to remove this banner. I totally forgot to use my banner. Archon is one of my sponsors. Let me take them off. Let me change it. One thing about being a one-man band is that you got to remember to take your transitions, your banners. Which one am I using today? Is it this one? There we go. So where are we? What are we talking about? We're going to talk about politics. But I think talking before we get into politics, I got to share this story. Today, my wife and I, we met. I'll just say his name, Pastor Rory. Amazing pastor. Um, we got a chance to fellowship after their service. We visited them today, and he's a pastor of Calvary Chapel, Prineville, Oregon. And I will say, it's amazing how God brings people in your path and how you can have these conversations and just connect. And one of the things he quoted today, and I put it up on my Twitter, on my X account, and I said, I think I said, don't meet your heroes. That's what I said. And of course, some people know what the reference is to. Some may not. But I think the gist of it, the broad description of it is, uh, a man at his best is just a man. I think that's the general context, right? A man at his best is just a man, and how true that is. And that statement wasn't meant to really put down anybody. And one of the things as pastors, one of the things we talk about as pastors, as leaders, whether you're a minister in a church or even, let's say you're a leader in a business and an organization, at the best of who we are, we're just men. And something I preach a lot about, or that I say a lot, is I am here just to deliver a message. A message. I can't say that word. I'm just here to deliver a message, and don't let the messenger get in the way of the message. And so, how true that is. And I wish I had my sermon notes in front of me. But one of the things I'm going to try to regurgitate it. But it said that if we're always praising the man, we will always be let down. I totally butchered that one, but it's about the message that he's here to deliver, right? I'll go find a quote and I'll post it up. But yeah, so we met Pastor Rory and his wife, his beautiful family, and it really ignited some things in my wife and I today. I think one of the things the Bible talks about is do not forsake the fellowship amongst believers. And so one of the things I think that, and I'm not going to make this a church podcast, but I will share a little bit about my heart, is that, as a body of Christ, as a body of believers, when we skip church, if you will, and it's not about attending a building, right? It's not just about a building, but when we forsake the fellowship amongst believers, we really are at a deficit, right? I really believe that. And of course, the Bible says that. And so it was nice to have fellowship. And one of the tough things about being in a leadership capacity, and it's not that I'm high maka maka. In Hawaii, we say high maka maka. It's not anything about that, but it's, for example, for someone that's a CEO of a company, for example, and that's probably not the best example, but it's hard to, uh, how should I put it? When you're in a leadership capacity, they say it's lonely at the top, right? That's partially true, but it's hard for people that are in leadership capacity to get counsel or to be able to be transparent with everybody, only because of who they're responsible to. And I think that's probably a shortcoming of leadership, whether you're a CEO or, pastor, leader, whatever. Um, Now, obviously, you want to confide in people that will be there for you, that will support you, not just undercut you, because now they've got an opportunity, right? So, yeah. So, anyways, that's my long-winded story about Pastor Rory. His church. He's a pastor, senior pastor of Calvary Church. I think it's called Calvary Church, Prineville. And amazing things that God's doing for him and his church, his family. He shared a story about how they purchased a building, or they took out a loan, and they paid the building off within the first year. I'm like, that's crazy. I said, that's a crazy story. That really is. So we'll come back to church in just a second. What I want to do now is kind of shift gears a little bit. I want to do a little bit of movers and shakers, and we'll do X dominant today just because of my time spent. And since we were talking about him, we're going to talk about Vladimir Robots, and I'm going to show you guys on screen, and we'll jump into one of his lives, and we'll just kind of eavesdrop on it for a second. We'll see if he's walking around and what he's doing. So let me share that screen out, and then we'll talk about it. We'll talk to him. I'm not sure if he'll see us right away, but we'll see. He may be with us live. I don't know. We'll see. Let's pull him up. Extra camera, share screen. All right, so there he is. Oh, he's still live. Good. What is he's typing something? Yeah, there he is. Let's see if he notices us. We'll hang on just for a minute. Let's see if he notices us. Oh, did he freeze up? Okay, I don't think he sees us just yet, but I guess he's working on some code or whatever. But he's got I think he's got like 5 or 6 cameras he's operating. So we'll minimize him, but let's mute his audio. Let me mute his audio. Make it softer. So Vladimir, he does robots, and let's take him out. How do we make it small? So let's read his bio. So he's a former BMW Coca-Cola engineer. He's a robotics teacher and a tech fanatic. And I think he just followed me yesterday, day before. And he's doing some pretty cool things with his cam work, his studio work. Yeah. And I'm going to show you guys something real quick. And so for those of you that are listening, you don't see what we're doing, that's totally fine. I'm going to walk you guys through some of the things. One of the things we have on Twitter, on X, is we have a live stream community as well. I'm going to show that, and then we'll probably shift gears. So on our live stream community, it's basically a bunch of us that we just gathered together that are what we call old school live streamers. There was an app called Periscope. A lot of them migrated to different platforms, but we kind of collected a few of them here. And I think we've got like 238 members now. Tala Smith is one of our moderators. There she is. She's oh, you can't. So small. My screen is so small, but she is one of our moderators, and she helps people with a checklist at the top. Of course, we got Vladimir. We promoted him, or he promoted himself. So if you're looking for a community to kind of figure out what live streaming video looks like, or what it is, or maybe you're interested in possibly becoming a live streamer, join our community. It's on X. It's called a live stream community X. Yeah, I know it's not very creative, but it's there. So that is that. I think that's what we're going to highlight. I don't want to spend too much time because my Spotify audience may not catch the fire. So let's stop sharing. There we go. So we're going to shift to politics, and then we're going to go to our call-ins in a minute, which I don't know if we have call-ins, but I'll put the number in the bottom just in case. I think I have it set straight to voicemail just in case we get a wacky phone call. I've only had one wacky phone call, and I'm glad that I did it straight to voicemail, so it doesn't go live on air. Because we've done some live content before where the people that were speaking were a little bit on the wacky side, so it's all good. So here's a question I'm going to ask my listeners, my viewers, is do you lean to a political side? And if you do, why is it why is it a certain side? There's a guy that I had as a podcast guest last year. He's an amazing content creator, and he's actually a podcaster as well. He's actually he's got a lot of listeners too. Brian Escow. And so I think his show, I'm pretty sure it's still called the same. It's called Searching for Political Identity. But he talks a lot about the left, the right, independent, all that language. But do you lean to a certain side? And I think this election cycle, by far, in my lifetime, probably has the most, how should I put it, the most visibility. And I think with the way world events happen in the past, since 2020, since COVID-19, we've had a lot of changes in the way that we access information. We've had a lot of different ways of accessing, data, news clips, news sources. I think we all know that the traditional news sources that we grew up with are not the same as they were when we were a kid. And maybe they are. I think maybe now we're a little bit more aware. But one of the things that really got my attention, got the world's attention, was when Elon Musk when he bought Twitter for 44 billion. And one of the things that Elon Musk said was he didn't pay 44 billion for a social media application. He said he bought it for securing free speech. And so a lot of people may believe that, some may not. But I will say that I think he's given a voice back to a lot of people that maybe were silenced or their accounts were closed for whatever reason, right? Um, I don't think it's a secret that he partnered up with Donald Trump, and I'm sure that triggered a lot of people. But we're gonna read some of the things that he said. Let me look it up, and we'll put it up on screen. But I think yesterday he went to the rally with Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. And let me see if I can find some video. I'll play some videos for you guys because I think it's interesting. Let's The best way I can find this is obviously on Twitter, on X. Elon Musk. Aloha family, I want to announce a brand new partnership with One Shot Voice Drops. They have these soothing yuzu voice drops that are infused with slippery elm, marshmallow, and licorice root. Great for public speakers, podcasters, gamers, streamers. Low sugar, organic ingredients like slippery elm bark, marshmallow, licorice root, also antioxidant boosts, as well as prebiotic fibers. Go to oneshotenergy.com, use my promo code AMBGLO, and you get 10% off your entire order. That's One Shot Voice Drops, the best way to take care of your voice. oneshotenergy.com. I don't know how many people that is, but that's a few thousand, I would say. I don't even know. I'm bad at math, but I would say that's a few thousand. I'd say that's at least 5,000 minimum, but then probably up to 20 to 30,000. Yeah. I mean, that's and that's Elon posting that. So let's see what else we got. Let's look him out. One thing I'm trying to figure out on X, on Twitter, is what are they using for their the compilation of their stories, their content. He's got this thing called community notes, I think it's called, where people can dispute or fact check a story. And so, yeah, I'm not sure how reliable, because I've done a community notes before. And so let me see. Or here's Elon at the Steelers game in Pittsburgh. I don't know how relevant that is to what we're talking about, but so what do you guys think of Elon Musk in terms of his endorsement of Donald Trump? And I think it's like, for me, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter who endorses who. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but it does. It doesn't change anything, right? Because for me and my wife, like our decision on who we vote for has nothing to do with celebrities or who endorses who. I think that is important to some degree, but it doesn't make our final decision, right? If God puts it on our heart to vote somebody, that's what my wife and I, that's what we're going to do, right? And even for us, like, the Bible is very clear, like it's to pray for your leadership, pray for your world leaders. It doesn't say whether you like them or not. So, so getting back to the whole Elon Musk endorsing Donald Trump, um, it doesn't change much. It really doesn't, right? So let me see if I can find one more story on. I guess what's her name? Kamala Harris she did another interview, podcast. What is it called? I'm not sure which one to play. Uh, some of these news clips that we find on Twitter, on X, obviously they're one side, and that's fine because that's freedom of speech, right? So let's take this banner off. Breaking news. Let's click on this. Officials from the FBI and DHS are warning of potential terror threats and attacks in the U.S. on the 1 year anniversary of October 7th. Is there audio to that? No, it's not. I guess in relation to, it says foreign terrorist organizations have called on their supporters to incite violence in the West. Huh. Like, where are these things happening? Like, where are these? If there are attacks, like, where are these attacks happening? Because here's the funny thing. We'll go back to talking about my daughter, and we'll still stay on politics. But like, where are those attacks happening? If they are, incitements and terror attacks or retaliate, whatever they call it. I'll tell you a story. Check this out. So my daughter's she has a business. It's called Z's Creations. She does baked goods. She does crochet. She makes stuff. She's very handy, right? So, anyways, Saturday we showed up at and matter of fact, I'll show you the video. We showed up at I think it's a fall festival, and I'm sure there's a lot more. But in the town that we're at, there was a lady right next to us. So her booth was next to ours. Okay. She had baked goods. She had clothes. She was selling clothes items. I think it looks like it's handmade. And she was packing. Well, she had a knife, like a huge knife on the left, and then on the right side she had a sidearm. It was holstered, right? And so she had it, and she was wearing like a long dress. She had cowboy boots on, or western boots, and just a regular shirt. But then you could it was open carry, so you don't have to have a permit to open carry with firearm. And so, and then like a few minutes later, I saw another guy with his family, and I actually seen him before because I've seen this guy before. Nice guy. Him and his wife, they bought products for my daughter, and he was packing as well. So he had his firearm as well, considerably larger than the other girls, and which is fine because it's all based upon what you're comfortable with. You want to be able to have a firearm that you can, first of all, you can hold and that you're comfortable using, right? So, but his was visibly, I won't say what type because I don't know. I'm not good at recognizing it from afar, much less if it's holstered. I'm not good at that. But here's a question. We just read a news clip, right, about the FBI and DHS warning about, potential terror attacks. I'm pretty confident that those types of attacks will not happen where I live. I really doubt that. You know what I mean? I really doubt that those type of attacks would happen where we live. Because where we live, the cops are not the first line of defense. The cops are the people that you call after you've taken action. And it's not vigilante by any means. But for those of you that are listeners of my podcast, you remember not years, months ago, I did a podcast with a police officer. He's been in the department for 20 years. And that's where I got my firearms training from. And he says, Greg, as good as cops are and as necessary as it is to have a healthy police department, he says, as an American citizen, it is your job, it is your duty to be able to protect yourself first. And if you've got a family, that's your duty to protect them. That's your first duty. If you're going to have a family, if you're going to have a spouse, or even if you're going to be a citizen, it is your job, your duty to be able to protect yourself as much as possible. If then and only then should you need to call them, then of course they come. And so going back to my town, if anyone decided to come to my city and try to open fire at a school or at a supermarket, no, God forbid, of course, obviously we don't want to speak that. I don't think that gunman will make it past the parking lot. He might have a quick. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure he'll have a quick meeting with his creator, and so that's some of the takeaways from this past weekend with my daughter. As you know, as we're sitting there and she's doing her, this is her business. Mom and dad don't touch anything. We just guide her. You know, she is a minor, so we are obviously are there with her. But that gives us the opportunity to observe what's going on around, you know, the fair, and just be aware, right? And those are some of the things we notice. And where we live, there's obviously a lot of farmers and ranchers. Um, I think when you go out into the countryside, they don't mess with pistols, right? They got rifles, which means you won't make it past the gate, right? Because they're, you know, they're probably watching you even before you get close to the house. So they don't mess with rifles. And one of the things I watch, and I'll shut up about guns after this, but one of the best firearms for home defense, from what I'm researching and learning, is that it's not necessarily a pistol per se. And I'm not coaching anybody by any means, but this is some of the videos I watch, and maybe we'll show you a few of them. But having a shotgun is probably one of the most effective. And it's not so much you don't want to clear rooms, right? Especially if you're a parent. The last thing you want to do is leave your loved ones by themselves. Now, if they're adults and they're armed, but even then, one of the things that I watch, one of the things I learned is that not just to be cowardly, but you find a safe place where you have the best vantage points, and you can hunker down, and you can set up, and if they come through your door, and if and only then, you have the advantage, right? Versus clearing your home, and there's much more variables. You know, my friend's business is called 5 and 7 Tactical Solutions. You know, everybody talks about who's got your 6, but what he talks about, well, what about your 5 and 7? So that's why that's his business. So most seasoned law enforcement or tactical advisors, they understand the importance of your 5 and 7, not just your 6, right? So, but okay, we'll hush up about that. But in the area of politics, right? That's one of the things I read was, let's bounce to the next. Let's find one more, and then we'll shift gears. There's definitely a lot of Trump things going. Let's put our screen back up. There's definitely a lot of Trump news today. Well, Tulsi Gabbard. Let's read up on Tulsi Gabbard. Let's see what she's saying today. Tulsi Gabbard. Let's do her personal. Of course, she's got a book. It's called For Love of Country. I didn't vote for her. I don't think I ever voted for any of her terms. Maybe I did. I don't think I did though. Can't remember. She was never someone that I really, and it's not because she was Democrat, or I just never really agreed with some of the things. But let's see what she has to say about the survivors of Helene.
Was just in North Carolina. I want to say thank you. Sunday morning, I got up to the good news this morning that over the last 48 hours, we've raised over $200,000 through my nonprofit, We Must Protect, for the survivors of Hurricane Helene. The generosity of people from all across our country is so inspiring and heartwarming. I was just in North Carolina, and to see the kind of devastation, I can't even describe it. I can't describe the anguish and the pain and hardship and frustration that people are feeling there, but I felt it and saw it in their eyes. And so I just want to say thank you to all of you who have contributed so far. We'll keep you updated. We're providing direct help to those who need it the most. People like the volunteer firefighters who are out there in these small towns. They are the first and best hope that people have for immediate help. And we have families and friends who are pitching in. There are a lot of folks who don't live near those big hubs where a lot of resources are going. So we're working with local leaders, local mayors, to be able to help provide either money, supplies, equipment, whatever it is that they need, directly to them. The number one thing that I heard from people consistently everywhere I went was, please don't forget about us. So I want to say thank you to all of you who contributed, those who will contribute, for making sure that they are not forgotten, that they know that we are here for them. If you'd like to contribute towards this relief and recovery effort, you can click on the link in the bio or the link below, or you can go to wemustprotect.org. Every penny, every dollar will make a difference.
There's Tulsi Gabbard and her, what is it? She said $250,000 that was raised. Oh, I don't know if I've ever been. I'm really, I don't want to say I'm embarrassed, but let me see. Where was this exactly? Is it Helene or Hurricane? But what part of North Carolina? I should look it up. But I used to live in the South. I used to live in Greenville, South Carolina. So for those of you that don't know me, I used to live as a kid. I used to live. I think at the time it was like 100,000 people in that city. I think now it's like. Let's ask Siri. Let's see what Siri has to say. Hey Siri,
Mhm.
what is the population of Greenville, South Carolina? There's no way. Hey Siri,
Uh-huh.
what is the population of the greater Greenville metro area in Greenville, South Carolina? What? Dude, that's insane. Okay, so I know you can't hear, but according to Siri, the greater Greenville, I'm not talking to you now, Siri, serious, is 1.4 million people. That's insane. Okay, so maybe when I was a kid, it was more than 100,000. That's 20 years ago. I don't believe that. Let me see. Let me ask Google. Hey, Google, what is the population of Greenville, South Carolina? Okay. Hey, Google, 100% volume. There we go. Hey, Google, what is the population of the greater Greenville metro area in Greenville, South Carolina?
Sorry, I didn't understand, but I found something else. You want to know how many people live in the greater Greenville area?
Yes.
On the website macrotrends.net, they say the current metro area population of Greenville in 2024 is 568,000, 1.61%
That's okay. That's hey Google, turn off. So okay, so Google says it's 500,000 people, but my Siri says 1.4 million. So I don't know. Let's meet in the middle. So let's say the greater Greenville area's got what's the middle? 700,000? 700? Yeah. So okay, what was it talking about? Oh, living in the South. Wow, we went from a hurricane to living in the South to population. So yeah, I used to live in Greenville, and I remember Hurricane Hugo as it passed through. And I remember being that far inland and how strong the storms were. It was crazy. And I don't know how these people in North Carolina. Let me look it up. I should look. I should have known this before I went live, but I'll look it up anyway. Let's look up. What is it called? Hurricane Helene. Okay. Let's look at the top stories. You know what? I want to cover this since we're talking, and this is political, but not so political. I think this will bring a good topic of discussion for today. So if I just go on X on Twitter, so here's one, and these are not articles, these are not journalists, right? So you can dispute these, but one of the posts that was put up is 230. Is that billion? What is that? No, 230 million to build a pier in Gaza. $750 for America to lost everything in Hurricane Helene. Yeah, some of these content you got to be careful. Here's what I know. in the area of like aid to hurricane victims. Um, Even Hawaii, for those of you that remember the Maui fires. I don't even know the total damage. Let me ask. Hey Siri,
Uh-huh.
what was the financial toll on Lahaina, Maui?
Okay, I found this on the web for what was the financial toll on Lahaina, Maui. Check it out.
So 6 billion. So the financial toll just in Lahaina, Maui, which is a city, uh, the island of Maui, 6 billion. They could literally build homes back up for less than 10%. Let's say 5% of what money has been given to other countries. That's just for Lahaina, Maui. And so I imagine for like, the people in North Carolina, right? So let's pray for our leaders. Let's pray for our country. that that the um that they allocate money where it should go. So let's find something else. I want to find something that doesn't have somebody sticking the middle finger. Um a lot of it's political, but oh, this is so messed up. There's a picture on Twitter where people put out survival kits, and that's not funny actually. But what do you guys think about FEMA? Is FEMA an actual? Are they an actual government organization? I mean, I know they are, but like, you know what I mean. Well, maybe you don't know. Hey Siri, can
Mm-hmm.
you explain to me what FEMA is? Okay, so FEMA is a United States government agent, which is what I said. They are tasked with the effective management of major emergencies within the country, including ensuring the continuity of government during a large scale disaster, including a nuclear war. That's according to Wikipedia. Um, but is FEMA, so for those of you that know the history of the post office, I believe the post office is a federal, but they're kind of like a private entity of sorts. I know they get federal. I mean, I'm probably butchering that. But one of my friends who worked for UPS said that if the United States Postal Service is not careful, they may bankrupt themselves. So I think that's one of the things that when they had a contract with Amazon. So for those of you that know anything about the Postal Service, they had a contract with Amazon to deliver packages. And one of my friends who works for the Postal Service or family, he said that they kind of hate it because they're basically doing the work for Amazon, and it's it's kind of wrecking their flow of things or their schedule of things because the packages is that they deliver. I don't know the business end of it, but yeah, that's just what I know, right? And so, what are we talking about? Oh, we're talking about FEMA. We're talking about FEMA, and so let's take this screen. Let's move up. Where is FEMA's money? Um, let's see. Hey Siri,
Hmm?
where did Hurricane Helene attack the most?
A forecaster at the National Hurricane Center determined the worst of the hurricane's effects were focused around Dauphin Island, Alabama, and Pascagoula, Mississippi, though noteworthy damage occurred across large areas of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida, with effects documented as far west as South Padre Island, Texas, and as far north as Kentucky. 9 deaths were attributed to the hurricane in 4 states and on the waters of the Gulf of Mexico, and 134 people along Elena's path were hospitalized, many of them due to storm.
I don't think that's the right hurricane, but that's so funny. So I'll just Google it. Give me a second, fam. I'm gonna Google it. You would think I would research it before, but I'll tell you why in a second. Hurricane. What's the latest one? Helene. Okay, so Hurricane Helene, death toll 227. Wow, that's a lot. That is a lot. And I'm not trying to sound insensitive, family, but let me share this with you guys. So, um, stop screen. So being in Hawaii, like we have hurricane season every year, right? I'm not in Hawaii right now, but hurricane season is something that happens every year. It's same as obviously East Coast. They always deal with the onset of hurricanes, and so I don't want to sound insensitive, and I want to make it sound that way by not knowing all the details. I just know that you know that's one of the things on my heart is praying for the people. But I'm hoping that the assistance that comes from privatized entities that they get the green light to deliver, because that's one of the things I um, was reading. Let's see, Starlink. Let's see some news. Um, so let's read an article from PC Mac. So is it Buttigieg? I don't know how you say. I don't know how to say it. Let me pull it up. Let's. I don't know how to say it. We'll just read the article, okay? And I apologize in advance. The reason why I'm laughing is, um, what the heck? Okay, so this is from PC Mag. And the reason why I'm laughing because I can't stop thinking about Biden and what he said. So let's read this real quick, and we'll talk about it. No, I don't want. So Buttigieg pushes back on Musk tweets about Starlink deliveries in North Carolina. So supposedly someone was saying that they were shutting down the airspace, and FAA, blocked recovery flights. So I don't know what's true, but we're gonna read it. So according to Buttigieg, I can't say his name without thinking about it, but the FAA was not closing down any airspace, but there was an issue with pilots who were helping get Starlink equipment to where it needed to be. He said, having the right information, we worked with local authorities and we were able to take care of it. So I guess in any situation, and this I understand because I studied for my pilot's license for my drone equipment, and you gotta take a test or study for it at least. But there are flight restrictions during natural disasters and those kind of things, so that's understandable. But with the consistent amount of natural disasters that happen every year, you would think that we would have a better system in place. So maybe that needs an overhaul. Maybe the FEMA needs to get a little bit better at it. I don't know. Um, so let me read this. So there's a process that has been in place for decades. And basically, what happens is if you have a disaster area, there's a lot of rescue operations going on. Local airport, fire department, Coast Guard flying helicopters. Um, so when they have a lot of moving parts, they can do, I guess it's temporary flight restrictions, if that's what that means. But it doesn't shut down airspace, but it increases the level of coordination. Okay, that sounds very political, but it increases the level of coordination. That sounds very political to me. But because you want to make sure that the airspace is safe and that you prevent the risk of collision. That makes sense, right? But I don't think that. I don't know. I'm not. I'm not officially a pilot, so I wouldn't be able to comment on that. So having good Samaritans with pilots licenses pitch in. It's a great thing, he said. It's just important that they coordinate and make sure that it's safe. Yeah. What else? So I guess Elon Musk and I cannot say his name, Buttigieg. Um, thanks to President Biden who called him the wrong name. But our hearts and prayers go out to the families affected, and as they continue to, rescue efforts. My family knows very good and well how heavy those things can be because our family, my wife has family on Maui. I don't think I have family. No, I take the back. I've got a few, but they weren't in that area. But yeah, I'm not sure what else to say about that. I just know that it's very sad that not the fact that it just happened, but just logistically, from what I was watching and reading, that logistically it's hard for a lot of assistance vehicles to get in just because of the topography. So, side story, and we'll shift gears. Yesterday I met was it yesterday? Yesterday, and this is a story kind of related, but I met a pilot, and he was talking to us yesterday. And when he found out we were from Hawaii, he just kept talking and talking and talking. A great guy, older gentleman, and he dropped names and things that would give us an indication that he knew what he was talking about. Number one, but that he also lived there. Because there are some things that you can only say unless you can't say it unless you know about the people or the area, or you've lived there long enough to know, or you're from there, right? So, but yeah, he was dropping some gold nuggets of information. But as I saw his jacket, so he had this at the time we didn't talk about flying, but he had this leather jacket. What do they call those? Like a flight jacket, or yeah, and it had a patch on it, and I recognize a patch from a couple of other people I've met that have these patches and they're pilots. And so I asked him, I said, I asked, "Are you a pilot?" He goes, "Yes, I am." I said, "Oh." So the next question was, "Do you have a plane?" He goes, "Yeah, yeah, I got one." And so, but he hasn't flown it in a while because he said something like, "So where we are, I guess it's everywhere." I'm thinking that it has to get. He said annuals. So if anybody knows what annuals is, he said I have to get my annuals done. So like inspections and whatever certifications. And one of the things we talked about, he says, I miss it. Is I miss being able just to get up and go. You know, put fuel in the plane, do your checks, just get up and go anywhere you want, pay the landing fees, taxes, whatever it is, and just go, just land, go anywhere. And I thought about him. We were talking, and I can imagine that in this country alone, how many thousands of pilots are available to help with the disaster area, and how would they coordinate that? So in Hawaii, we'll land the plane on this disaster with the hurricane. So when Lahaina Maui burned down, the FEMA officials, from what my perception was, their their inability to organize efficient, and I'm not speaking against anybody personally, but I'm talking about it from an organizational level. And I wasn't there, so I'm not going to say that I am the authority. I'm just saying this from the outside and from our family that was there. That the FEMA coordination just in Lahaina Maui, in their opinion, was one of the worst coordinated efforts they've ever seen. And part of it was not necessarily the workers, but the leadership. And so what did the locals do? The locals decided, you know what? We can't wait for them. We're just going to deliver. So all the locals from even the neighboring islands, they were literally boating in supplies. They were delivering supplies on their own. And there's no law against that. Um, they were given a little bit of static when it came to certain areas. But guess what? It's an island. So what do? They go to the next spot. They just bring the boat to the other side. So and they deliver, right? So one of the things I'll say, and I'll land it on this, is that at least with the Hawaiian people, We know how to take care, and I'm not saying people in this in this disaster area don't, but I just hope and pray that they get the help that they need. And it's good to see like what we saw earlier with Tulsi Gabbard, with them raising that much money in such a short period of time. So if anybody wants to um, shed some light on how we can support, reach out to me, and I'll definitely put it up on all my socials. I'm gonna play a fun video real quick for anybody that does not know who I am. So let's pull it up. Let's shift gears. Up my profile. Now, I'm gonna show you guys my profile on Twitter, on X. So if you missed me yesterday when I shared a story about the guy, the pilot, well, this is where we were. Let me pull it up. Where is it? Where are you? So it was okay. Here's me riding a tractor. Let me rewind. This is a short clip. It's not exciting. I'm just riding a wooden tractor that one of the locals. They have this. I think it's a nonprofit. Look at that. You see, I'm kind of mildly trying to hide my happiness. Watch this. So this tractor, bro, I'm looking at it. That's my son Gideon. He's making sure I don't break anything. But so this tractor, this tractor was made out of wood. I think I want to say drive. Is that a drive shaft? I don't even know. The steering linkages it had metal parts, but everything else was metal. And so if you look at the top, it looks like a little mini house or barn right in front of me. That's what housed the engine. And the engine was such a tiny little engine, but it was powerful enough to get me going. So let me see if I can pull another side view. Look at that little boy. So let's see. Okay, I think you can see a little bit of the linkage, and I think there's a drive shaft underneath it all. But anyways, this was at the I think it was a farm. I don't know what it was called. The farm fair. This is where my daughter was. What was she doing? She was selling her products. So let's go to another video, and then we'll land the plane, and I think we'll close it out. Let me stop sharing. Let's show you guys another video. Ooh. Pull it up. Okay, one more. This one's a little bit longer, but you can see my excitement in this. This one? Oh no, not this one. Sorry. Sorry, some dead space. Where is it? Oh, here it is. It's a hot dog truck. There we go. Let's show you guys this. We are in Prineville. So my daughter is selling. She's got her business set up. But check this out. This is a hot dog truck. I'm going to show you guys the inside of it real quick. But I want to show you guys a gas station. I mean, a gas tank. I think that's a gas tank. It looks like a gas tank. That's crazy. And then there's, do you know how old this truck is? It's like super old, yeah.
Well, the model itself is old, and then they built all this around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that you call it the hydration station? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the owner is in the red shirt over here. It's David Campbell.
That's John's brother?
Yeah.
That's
my uncle.
your uncle, but John's your dad, right?
Yes.
And you're one of the twins?
Yes, I'm Nita.
Nita, okay. I'm Greg. That's my wife, Emily. And my daughter, Zoe. That's her, what does she sell? I don't know. Kimchi.
Pumpkin
bread. But we met Dee at the last fair.
Okay.
With the wheat grinding thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can you give me a quick run through of what this is, what we're looking at?
Well, yeah, so my uncle started, it was a long time ago for me, like, built it all probably 10, 15 years ago, and then called it the fermentation station, and usually they serve alcohol, Sometimes, like today, we're using it to sell
hot
we're-
dogs.
We're just giving out hot dogs today.
Oh, you giving them out?
Yep. Yep. But he brings it to all the events just because it fits in so well.
This looks like the latest moonshine kind of station.
I think that's the point. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Can I sit at the chair? Watch this. This is
This is so you actually drive this in and out wherever?
They trailer it because
Look at
it's
this.
slow, but it does drive.
okay. So you got oil pressure,
Like before.
and you've got ignition, blinkers. Watch his horn, bro.
Been here 4 years, kind of, but I've never been. What a beautiful background.
Choke,
It's a great spot.
spark,
I do
blinkers.
photography and
And this is the inside.
this is your mommy's at home.
All right, that's it. All right, let's go end. Let's end this. So they're doing out giving out free hot dogs today. So there you go. There's the. Let's do a wide shot. There it is, guys. That's it. So that was the. I called it a hot dog truck, but actually it was it's actually called a fermentation station. That's what he called it. So Dee is the lady that she helped my daughter. So Dee is she's the one that organized this event, and there was at least 50 vendors. I want to say at least 50. I was surprised. And also I want to give a very special shout out to our friends at what is it called? They're called Prineville Produce. I want to give a shout out to them. They're the ones that allowed us to set up all of our equipment, our tents and everything at their property. So it was just such a huge event. There was, I want to say 50 vendors. If I'm just counting in my head, there was like at least 3, 6, 9, 12. I would say about 50 vendors. Now, I don't think all of them were selling stuff because there were people that came just to support. And like there was I can't remember the name, but they had a petting zoo. I don't know what it is about petting zoos, but I like them. Our friends Tiffany, she is the one that helped my daughter with the last live stream I did. As a matter of fact, I think I talked to her with you guys live, but they hosted the Young Biz Entrepreneurs Association or something like that. But anyways, I don't know where I was going with that, but it was just cool to have all of these festivals. So my daughter is, she did what are they, open markets, right? And so, but here's the thing. I'll get back to the petting zoo. Tiffany and them had a petting zoo. I think her daughter ran it. But there were goats and baby pigs but at this event I just showed that we see that truck. They had a petting zoo with these well, I don't even know the name of the goats. I just know that these goats were muscular. These goats were like they were built like tanks. So I don't know if anybody knows anything about like goats, but these goats are muscular. I'm so sorry I missed that comment earlier, but we got brother Noel. He's on the other side of the planet. He's on our YouTube. Thank you for watching our YouTube, Noel. It is 11 p.m. our time. So thank you for being here, man. I appreciate you. 2 a.m. Well, thank you for 2 a.m. What times? I swear you was on I swear you was in another part of the country. I mean, other side of the planet. But yeah, petting zoos, man. So these goats, beautiful, but they had these huge quads. Oh, you're in Easter, I swear. Oh, but you travel, right? No, don't you travel? I swear you do. If this is the same Noel that I know about, the drone pilot, I swear you travel a lot to Southeast Asia. But yeah, if anybody knows anything about these goats are like they have huge quads, they have these huge traps, they're muscular, um, they're amazing, and then they had these big fat bellies. It was so weird. So I asked the owner, I said, "Are these goats pregnant?" She goes, "No, that's just what they look like." And I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, "Wow, they're huge and muscular, but they had these bellies." And I thought it was so going back to these petting zoos. I just thought it was cool. And so going back to the whole topic of, in my picture you see there in that truck, they were giving out free hot dogs, and it was all just to support these businesses that are trying to make a little bit of money, um, and just supporting creating this ambiance. And they set up tables. They had these hay bales or bays of hay, whatever it's called. Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam. This is something. Oh, nice. Well, we're excited to join you on your journeys, brother Noel. Yeah, Condavu, I think, is your username on X, right? If you're still on X, but yeah. So it was cool to see these businesses come together. So in the town that we live, I think there's like 11,000 in the city limits, but I think there's like 30,000 in the county. I think it was, but it was nice to see all those people come out and just support, and even the businesses that weren't charging anything, like for the petting zoo and then the hot dogs. There were people playing music, um, which I think I see them at all the other events. But it was nice to see that. And my daughter, she's a young entrepreneur. She's 15 years old, selling her cake pops. So my daughter sells, and let me go a rundown of what she does. So she sells Rice Krispie treats, cake bombs. The cake bombs are really good, and I don't even like cake. I'm not really a cake kind of a guy. So if you don't know what a cake bomb is, it's basically, if you ever heard of a bath bomb, the one you stick in your bathtub, it probably does that in your mouth. Like when you eat it, it's like, oh, it's like, it makes your, like your taste buds like, it's like bubbles up. What is this flavor? But, I'm joking, by the way, but it's like a cake pop without the stick. And so that she calls them cake bombs. And so she sells those. She makes homemade. So everything she makes is legit, straight up homemade. There's no boxed recipe. She doesn't buy cake mixes. She makes it all from scratch. Like she measures everything out. She researches. Because of our elevation, she has to make adjustments. She makes homemade pumpkin bread. What else does she make? Can't even remember. I'm really bad. Uh, but the pumpkin, she buys fresh pumpkins, cleans it out, cuts it up, bakes it. She mashes it, she pounds it with her hands. She makes. I'm just kidding. She actually sticks it in I think a processor, and she makes homemade pumpkin bread. And so she sells those things, and then she crochets, and she did some good sales with her crochet work. So we're proud of her. We're excited, and I'm excited to see what God's going to do in her life, later on as she gets older. And I joke about it, but I say, I say we're setting up our retirement account with her, so, or retirement plan. And I joke about it, but I'm partially not joking because as parents, I think it's very important that we invest into our children, right? We put the time. I mean, if God blessed me and my wife with kids, like we're gonna make sure that we invest into them with everything we've got, and that goes for all of them. My Zoe, man, she's a child that she will, by the time she gets to become a really old lady, she's going to be the one to say, I've done it all. That'll be my daughter. She will literally say, I've done it all. Because when she was, I think 5, 6 years, I remember we used to go shopping at these grocery stores, and she would, if you don't watch her, man, she's gone, right? And not running away, but she would find something to do. And so she would probably be the first 5-year-old to say, I operated a cash register at 5 years old. One time we turned around and, Zoe, what are you doing? And she's on this cash register, just tapping buttons and just the biggest smile you could ever see. She's smiling real big and she's just tapping, pushing the open drawer, all these buttons. But she will be the one to say, I've done that. I've done that. She's done coding at 10 years old. She wrote her first program. I think it was a game. It wasn't crazy complicated, but she started it from start to finish. She did it. And then she did a couple of other things, which she ended up losing interest at that point. I think she got bored with the analytical process of it. So it leads me to my last category. And I don't think we'll do call-ins. Let me just check. Maybe I may have. I don't think I do, but let's check my Google. And let's take that picture off, and then we'll close it out. Ooh, stop screen. So if anybody is a podcaster, if you want to do call-ins, what I started doing is Google Voice. And so Google Voice gives you the ability to set up. Somebody called me. Oh, that's an old call. Let's check. I got a new voicemail. Oh, that's me. I called myself. What? I don't want to play because I don't know what it said. Okay. So yeah, so if you're a podcaster and you want to do a call-in hotline or people can leave you voicemails, Google Voice is a great way to do so, giving you guys a little bit of the master class. So that is it. We're going to land the plane on dreams and goals. And one of the things, I don't know if I shared it. Maybe I was sharing it in my own private recording. But for anybody that's got dreams and goals, and I know we all go through seasons and chapters, things that are tough in our life. But I want to just encourage you. I want to just, may God bless you in whatever it is that your dreams and aspirations, whether it's a baker or a podcaster or the best engineer. But if here's what I'll say. There was a time when Joshua was, and then we're going to quote some Bible stuff, but when Joshua was tasked with doing some reconnaissance, and there was a time in Joshua's life where he didn't feel like he was qualified enough or good enough or maybe not the right guy for the job. And there's a very famous scripture that I think a lot of people will quote as it's out of Joshua chapter 1, verse 9, and it says that have I not commanded you only to be strong and courageous? And I think it's powerful that in that chapter, actually, when God was talking to Joshua, he said it on 3 separate occasions where only be strong and courageous. I'm going to read it in full context, so so people can look it up. But in that chapter, God literally told him in very distinct moments in that passage, very clearly, he says, "Have I not commanded you only be strong and courageous?" He said 3 times, and I think for some of us, I think we have to hear it more than once, to only be strong and courageous. Don't lose heart, right? So let me read it. I'm going to read it out of the NIV for anybody that wants the full context. So it says, "Have I not commanded you only be strong and courageous? Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." And I think I'll close it with that. Is that if you trust in the Lord your God to open the doors for you, all he's asking is for you to walk through them. And as he says in Joshua 1, "I have not commanded you, only be strong and courageous. Don't be afraid. Don't be discouraged. It says, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." So I want to close with that. I know we talked about a lot of things tonight, and this is more of an exercise for me to keep putting out content. And now I'm going to listen to my replay on my audio and clean it up a little bit. And I want to thank you for being willing to listen. Some of you are like, I hope he hurries up with these points. Can you hurry up and get to the next topic? But I want to thank you. And I just want to speak life over you. And I hope that God blesses you. And for those of you that want to know a little bit deeper on who is this God I'm talking about, you mentioned this guy named Jesus. Well, reach out to me, DM me. And I'm excited. I'll just say that to see what God's going to do. Not just in the United States and even in this upcoming election cycle, but even as our world has become a lot smaller, especially with social media. And I'm excited to see what God's going to do. I'm one of those people that I have a very victorious, what we say in in Christianese. I have a very victorious eschatology mindset. I'm a firm believer that in God's word, it's a very victorious word. It's not one of doom and gloom, although there is doom and gloom in what we see, right? But for someone that deals with victorious situations a lot, I'm excited to see what God is going to do in your life, in my life. Not to neglect that there are hardships and a lot of trials and tribulations that may come, but I'm excited to see what God's going to do in your life, in my life, and even in the advancement of events. And as dark and scary as some of them may be, I just want to encourage you: only be strong and courageous, as the Lord has commanded us. Only be strong and courageous. My name is Butter Greg, aka the Real G-Lo. If you want to get to know me, my website is in my bio. It's therealgilo.com. For those of you that have been supportive of my channel, if you want to support us, click on the links, and we appreciate you. And so from the bottom of my heart, thank you for those that have listened, watched, shared this out. If you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, would you do me a favor and just give a short review or just tap that 5 stars? That would help us out a lot, help us get a little bit of good metrics and the graces of my almighty algorithm in the sky of those platforms. So thank you. As I always say, love you guys. God bless you guys. Ahui ho, aloha and mahalo. Yes, sir.
It's a brand
Chihu.
new day.